Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing very, very well. I'm so excited to be with you today and pumped to spend just a few minutes with you. I want you to write down this quote. It's from the great Jim Rohn, who I'm going to be using some info from today. In fact, if you don't have this book, go cough up like $20 or $25. It's on Amazon. Very nice hardcover and all that good stuff. Leading an Inspired Life from Jim Rohn. It is just absolutely chock full of good information and just good stuff. And so I wanted to hit a few bits from that today. But first and foremost, one of my favorite quotes that he says, "The bridge between thought and accomplishment is discipline." Right? So you've got a canyon. On one side of the canyon is thought, the idea, thinking of something you'd like to be, thinking of something you'd like to accomplish, all of that good stuff. The bridge that gets you to accomplishment, of course, is it's going to be discipline. And so be thinking about the disciplines in your life. And today here we are, the very beginning of February, looking at, well, what does the rest of this year look like? How are you doing right now with the current state of your business and where you thought you'd be as you sat and made goals toward the end of last year? Look, as I look through and consider that, I love the idea of what Jim Rohn talks about in here. And he talks about goal setting. And he says there's two main rules and things that he lives by as it relates to goal setting. And I just want to share those with you really quickly, okay? First rule, don't set your goals too low. Think about that. Isn't that so interesting? Like, a goal should be something that you know you can achieve and you're capable of, but don't set it too low. The example of that might be, this is a little bit of a backward example, but it deals a little bit with discipline and accountability contracts and stuff. I'll never forget, years ago, we were creating accountability contracts for some stuff. And this guy who was former Marine, big, strong, healthy, capable individual. And when we asked what would he have to do if he didn't do his job, right? Some people are like, I'm going to eat cat food. I'm going to send a picture of me to my ex-girlfriend, or all these things that are like painful. And he's like, I'll do 25 push-ups. And it was like, you take one look at him and you're like, wait a minute. You probably did 25 push-ups just to prepare for this meeting we're having. That's not painful for you. That's not going to hurt you. That's something you can easily accomplish. So as you think for just a moment about your business and about what you're looking to accomplish, make certain that your goals that you're setting are not too low. Let me tell you more about what Jim Rohn says. He says, don't join the easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations are high. Go where the demands are high. Go where the pressure is to perform, to grow, to change, to read, to study and develop new skills. Isn't this so interesting, guys? This is Everest. This is Everest and the new heights, the new opportunity, the new, you're thinking about just the words we use, like base camp, and for our sales meetings, right? Ascent, morning ascent. These are the things that you should be looking at and considering. It's really remarkable. Go where others aren't. In fact, he goes on to say it's called living at the summit. Go where the demands are high. Again, it falls in line so perfectly with what we do. I have a manager meeting that I'm going to be a part of following this meeting, and I'm going to share this same message. I think it's really interesting in the way it lines up with our company. Rule number 2. So for those of you who just got on, we're talking about goal setting. Rule number 1 was don't set your goals too low. Make so you have to push yourself. Rule number 2, don't compromise. Don't sell out. He says, remember the ancient story. Judas got the money. It sounds like a success story, and it's true that 30 pieces of silver in those days was a sizable fortune. but having a name that is synonymous with trader is not what you'd call a success story. Think about that. Kind of interesting. So the 2 rules for goal setting: don't set it too low and don't compromise. Live in the environment where people are going to new heights and reaching new things, living at the summit. And so today, guys, I want to go over with you really quickly just kind of that general idea of what it means to be living at the summit from a goal setting standpoint, and what that can look like. And it really just comes down to taking a look at, well, what are your current circumstances and where do you want to be? So I want you to write down, each one of you, your current state of your business. What is the current state of your business? Meaning, what's good? What's happening right now? I'm actually going to give you kind of the answers to at least the key to answering these questions and what I believe, because so often we talk about, well, how's my business? It's great because I just had 5 closings. Well, wait a minute. What's the state of your business? Is it healthy? Did it just because somebody ate a really, really good meal, if they're not going to eat for another 6 months, that's not going to do anything for them. You have to make sure that the current state of your business is solid. So let's talk about that. The current state of your business as an agent. If I was an agent selling full-time right now, this is exactly what I would be looking at and writing down and focusing on. What is the current state of my business? Number 1, I'd be looking at both buyers and sellers, and I'd be saying, number 1, how many active listings do I have? So write it down. How many active listings do you have? Number 2, how many active buyers do you have? And let's talk about how we might define that. I would define it as a buyer that, let's see how I would define it. I always say this, but I would define it as a buyer that if they found the right house, they're going to submit an offer tonight. Makes sense? Now, I know that in this market right now, that can be too many active buyers, but it's good to know, right? So how many active buyers do you have? People who are actively engaged, they buy a house right now. Okay, so that's it. Active buyers, active sellers. Number 2, under contract. How many under contract listings do you have right now? Contract in place, done deal. And then, of course, to be buyers. How many under contract buyers do you currently have? And then we move on to number 3, and lastly, set appointments. How many appointments do you have set with potential listings right now? How many appointments do you have set with potential buyers? People you've never met before, or maybe it's SOI or someone you know well, but you haven't kind of that official, let's meet and talk about this listing, or let's meet and show homes, right? So I just gave you these 3 areas: who's active, who's under contract, and who do you have appointments set with. That shows, in my opinion, the health of your business right now. It gives you an opportunity to kind of analyze and say, what is the state of my business? Think about a president of the United States that stands up in front of the nation to deliver a State of the Union address. They're going to talk about military, healthcare, economy, right? All of the different things going on that address the current state of affairs of the business. It's nice to know how many closings you've had. It's cool if you have a certain amount of money in your bank account, whatever. What matters most, if you want to truly live at the summit, is that you have a healthy state of your business. And here's what's so great about it. If you look at it, it tells you a story. If you don't have any active buyers and any active, and this is the answer to the questions right here, right? If you don't have any active sellers or active buyers, what do you need to work on? What should you be working on? Well, you should be working on converting leads to clients. you should probably be working on figuring out how to take appointments you've had and turn them into clients, people you're following up with, marketing, right? Things like that, getting out there. Second, well, what if you have a whole bunch of actives and 0 under contracts? What should you be spending your time doing, right? It continues to tell a story. And the story now becomes, okay, I need to create some deals. I need to figure out with my buyers what's getting in the way of our current situation, what's getting in the way of our offers, what are we missing out on? Are they looking at too high price so that we can't get aggressive on them? Maybe you need to have a reality check with your buyers, whatever it might be. From a seller standpoint, I mean, in this market, it's tough, but it still happens. Are they priced too high? Right? Is it not being marketed the right way? Is there something, guys, I hate to admit it, years ago, I put a house on the market back when the market was hard. I accidentally named a 5-bedroom place a 2-bedroom place. There was an error done, a clerical error on the MLS. And thank goodness I was paying attention and saying after 2 days, wait a minute, something must be wrong here, and reviewed the MLS and said, oh, there you go. Think about like what's getting in the way. But more than likely, look, listings are selling and going fast. But if you're keeping some that are active, figure out what you need to do. Now, under contracts, all right? If you don't have many under contracts, it's just a matter of converting. You know what you need to work on. You've got to get these actives moving along in that case. Okay, and then moving on to the third one of appointment setting. If you don't have any appointments set, look, it's Monday morning. And if you look at your calendar right now and it shows very few appointments, future appointments set, don't be discouraged. This is the opportunity. This is what you're showing up for every day, to set new appointments. I'll say it 1,000 times. You've heard me say it 1,000 times, and I'll continue to say it. Every phone call you make, every door you knock on, every belly-to-belly conversation you're having should be about setting an appointment. So continue to work as hard as you can to set appointments with sellers and buyers. And guys, as you're working on those things, and it's nothing new. There's nothing like new and fantastic that I'm sharing that you haven't heard 1,000 times. But it's kind of interesting to look at it from that perspective. What is the state? What is the current health of your business? And the bottom line is, it is this. It is whether you have active, under contract, and an appointment set. So if you're looking at those numbers right now and you wrote them down, and I hope you did, active buyers and sellers, under contract buyers and sellers, and appointments set with buyers and sellers. If those numbers are not quite what you hope they would be or wish they would be, you have the opportunity this morning to step it up. And my take would be that most likely the area right now that everybody could use a boost is appointment set. So how do you do that? Well, it kind of goes along with what I talked about last week, but just who are you connecting with? What is your lead source? Who are you becoming the master of working with right now? Web leads, SOI. Last week I talked a bit about that. Russ Orchard gave a great training on SOI. Looking at FSBOs, expireds, just listed, just sold, whatever it might be. Get yourself committed to the certain group of lead source that you're focusing on and go to work and build. So agents, I'm not going to keep you long today, but want to make sure that I'm reiterating that message. Pay attention to the current state of your business. Recognize that that shows the health of what you're currently working with. And whatever you do, don't be discouraged. Just take that information and use it to help step you up and move you into that next level, and fill that up with appointments, fill it up with active clients, fill it up with under contracts, and continue to let that cycle through. All right, guys, awesome to be with you for a few minutes today. Go out and make it a great day. Set some appointments. I'd love to hear from anyone if anything we said today helps you make an appointment. So, all right, guys, go out and have a great day. Thank you.